Good morning. I just want to share a word with you today. Yesterday I was just thinking about a lot of different stuff and thinking about the season that I feel like God is calling us into, something that's unknown and not necessarily different, but different, if that makes sense. So in thinking about all of these different things and we look at relationships and we look at how this is going to make me feel and people that we may or may not leave behind, all the uncomfortableness, if that's a word. I think about all of these things and all of the possible changes, and so I'm contemplating all of this, and what I do is I get overwhelmed because I look at all of these things and then I'll start wanting to know the why and asking God about timing and all of those things. And so I'm just doing what I do around the house and my mind is just constantly running, and I feel like the Lord just kind of spoke it into my heart, like, what if it's not about you? And I was like, what? And it was just as simple as that. What if it's not about you? What if the things that God calls us into isn't about us, but it's about those who we may come in contact with? What if, it's so much about somebody else, but we get so caught up with how it's going to make me feel or what it's going to do to me that we simply miss out on the vision that God is trying to cast before you. And it just really took me back because I'm so caught up in emotion that I forget, I miss the big picture because it's not about me. It involves me. If I want to be a part of the kingdom business here on earth, then yes, it involves me, but it's not always about me. God cares about what we care about, and He sees us when we struggle, and He sees us when we're hurting and when we don't understand and we're questioning. And I'll tell everybody, just be real with God. He knows it already. So just be honest about your feelings. But I just want to encourage you today, if there is something in your life and God is calling you out to do something different, or maybe it's just a new season for you, that look at the big picture. When God asked Abraham, or told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, God wasn't so caught up in how that might make Abraham feel in the midst of it, right? He was focused on the big picture. What about when the Israelites had to spend 40 years in the wilderness or whatever? That was their choice, but God was focused on the bigger picture. And I mean, just time and time again, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, how hard that must have been to be thrown into the flames. I love that story because it's amazing, but there probably was a little bit of fear and thoughts, and we don't know because, but still, there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger vision, and we're in kingdom business. And even though things involve us, it's not always about us. And I do firmly believe that sometimes God calls us as forerunners to pave the road sometimes for other people, to stand in the gap for others, to be that bridge for somebody else, to be somebody else's breakthrough. When Paul and Silas were in prison and they began to praise and worship the Lord even in the midst of that, their chains were not the only ones that were released. Everybody's chains around them. So I'm a firm believer that sometimes we can be somebody else's breakthrough. And so just be encouraged today. We're walking through this new season, and more info on that to come. But for me right now, it was just so amazing to see how in that moment of stress and wondering and questioning and a little bit of fear, a little bit of apprehension, a little bit of wanting the handwriting on the wall, God simply says, it's not about you. And knowing that although God cares about the things that we care about, and although he cares when we're hurting, and he cares when we're apprehensive, and he cares when we're scared, he also sees the bigger picture. And so my prayer today is that the Lord would help us to have his perspective and to walk by faith and not by sight. If we could see everything that was before us, we wouldn't be walking by faith. We'd be walking by sight. And God simply calls us to walk by faith. And that's not, we don't always see the why, and we don't always understand. But when our trust is in the Lord, when our trust is firmly placed upon him, then it doesn't matter what we face. It doesn't matter what we go through. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But God, knowing that he's not going to set us up to fail, knowing that he is with us till the end, that's just amazing. We're not in this alone. And so even though it was a little bit hard to swallow, and he's like, Kathy, it's not about you. I need you to see the bigger picture. I need you to get on my page, because even though you don't understand it right now, there is a plan. There is a purpose. And we just have to trust and rest in that. All right. Well, y'all just have a great day. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And stay tuned, because the Grants family, God is calling for a different season. And I'm excited to see what's to come. All right. Y'all have a blessed day.